Well, thank you so much for inviting us to this event, and I must say that we are very honored to be in the same competition as Marseille and Istanbul. Those great cities, and we are the small ones from the northern. And in the beginning I would say that I have brought some colleagues with me, and mainly my bosses, the chairmen from the Building and Planning Committee and the Environmental Committee, Carina and and I also have my team from the city, and I mean that we are doing something, but the ones that really are doing things, that are the daily heroes, and they are here somewhere. Yeah, you are here. I say, as I said to my mother when something strange happened, it isn't my fault, it was the other ones. This time it's true. So I will not really stick to the program as usual. I will speak in a more generic way and also try to explain the story that we have been through in Malmö, and I will show you some pictures about that. So we are strong believers in urbanist things. We are very devoted to that, and we also understand that there are some really big problems with the big cities in Europe. As the cities are the places of opportunity, is also some problems with climate changes and social polarization and so on. So when we are talking about city development, it's a very complex thing. And I will stress some of the words here, and I will say that governance is a very important question to governance, to the market, and also to different kinds of stakeholders and the inhabitants and so on. And what is really important, nothing will happen if we don't have this good political leadership. This is one key question for us, and I think it's for the Academy as well. We have two interesting projects that we have had in Malmö. It's the Commitment Malmö. I don't know any better translation than that. All the leaders in the City of Malmö has been through the program to be also into the decision-making program, and also really devoted to the challenges that we have. And we also have a huge program concerning welfare for all, how to combine economical growth and welfare issues. In my opinion, it's some topics that has to be solved. You must have a big vision, a great vision, and everyone must be involved in that. You are trusting on the political leadership. You must have a planning philosophy, and you have to cooperate. You can also say that you have to test. Testing all the time. We have eagerly tried new solutions on everything that we have done so far. Just the context where we are. Every one of us has been to Marseille and Istanbul, and not so many has been to Malmö, I suppose. But we are in the Öresund region, Denmark and Sweden. 3.5 million people are living here. 100,000 people a week are commuting over the bridge to their daily work and to live. There is a new bridge planning between Denmark and Germany, and there is also a high-speed train planned to Norway, and this is something that really is going on now. So in some years, 10, 20 maybe, we will be a region in about 8 to 10 million people, and that will be a new phase in our development. But we are coming from the crisis. We lost 27,000 jobs in a couple of years. All the base industry were gone. The shipyard, the textile industry, the mechanical industry. So that was really a crisis. So from being the second largest city in Scandinavia, the most modern shipyard in the world, everything was abandoned, one building crane used for bungee jump, and to the region where we are today. So this is something really special. Sorry, Carina, this is the man who did it. This is the former Lord Mayor, Ilmar Reepalu. He is an architect, that's good for me. But mainly, he is a holistic thinking person, and that's the most important thing, in my opinion. He put up a new vision. That was a big work to do that. But 3 projects, key projects, came out of that. And that was to candidate for a housing expert, and it was to have a university, and it was also to establish a strategy concerning the public spaces. So this transformation that we now have done almost, we are into, to develop a city is also in a way to navigate. And we are now at a new point where we have to navigate and create a new story. So what we have done so far, we have got the Housing Expo with new housing areas with the turning torso. We have got some new enterprises and new clusters in new media, for example. We have got the new infrastructure, the city tunnel, and we have the new university. So on the same spot where the shipyard was, we have now the turning torso, the old symbol and the new symbol for the City of Malmö. And at the same spot where the shipyard was, one company, 6,000 employed, there are almost 300 companies with 8,000 employed today. And this is the media cluster. So for us as planners, this is something that we have to consider. New lifestyles, a new way of working, how will that affect the way we are planning? This is something that we are investigating a lot. We do that on a network where I'm the chairman, the Nordic City Network. We are cooperating with the Academy and with INTA as well. And this is another lecture, but you can go into the website. The key question for us has been sustainability. And the way of treating sustainability has changed quite a lot during this period. It started with sustainability concerning waste management, green space factors and so on, and being much more complicated as it is today. And when the Brundtland Commission came with the definition of sustainability of 3 parts, we adopted that quite rapidly. So the symbol for this is the Western Harbour. This is a climate smart district, the first one in Sweden. 100% renewable, locally produced energy sources so far. And it's also a great environment. And we have this exhibition in 2001. It has great public spaces with its skateboard ramps. And we still have a lot of ideas for the area. We have to consider about the raise of the sea level. And why do that as a normal barrier? Why don't create some new islands instead to make some new attractiveness? So that's one idea that we have. We will see what will happen, but it's still an idea. We're also working on the smart cities, so the smart district in Hyllie. We have a climate strategy there, and we are signing a climate contract with all stakeholders in this area. And the goal is that we should have only 100% renewable or recycled energy in 2020. So this story has been a very good story and for us a success. And we got the Score of Honor 2009. But at the same time, we have to say that now we have some new things to deal with. And in my opinion, we have 3 main documents that we are working with. We have a climate strategy that says that 2030 we should be a climate neutral city. And that is really a tough goal. It consists of wind power, organic waste, public transportation system, but also how we behave as inhabitants in the city, to use the bicycle more than the cars, for example. The comprehensive planning that will be adopted quite soon, I hope, is very much a plan of mobility, resources, sustainability, greening, densification, and so on. But it's also how to use, for example, infrastructure to integrate the different parts of the city, to use infrastructure, to use new nodes to connect the eastern and the western parts in Malmö. That's really important. So you can say that it also is a matter to consumers. That is what the comprehensive planning is dealing with. Consumerless energy, transport, land, and so on. So we have to go from a modernistic way of planning to the modern way of planning in this spaghetti structure. The third thing is the Commission for a Social Sustainable Malmö. The politicians launched this committee 2 years ago. And this is something also that we bear in our minds when we are planning. The people is the asset. We are 320,000 inhabitants today. We have 174 languages. almost 50% of the inhabitants are younger than 35 years. What a great opportunity, really. This is something that we had good advantages of when we had Eurovision Song Contest. All countries that participated could have a Malmö guy from their own country. It was really a success. And the most interesting thing is that the Danes won. So this will be in the Öresund region next year as well. So you are very welcome there. The commission is inspired by Michael Marmot and the report he made for the global perspective. And we have still the same challenges in Malmö, the differences in health. It differs 7.5 years in life expectancy between the western and the eastern part of Malmö, and that's not really acceptable. So how could physical planning do something about that? Quite a lot, I think. We can bridging barriers, we can work with densifying, we can putting in really what's missing in that part of the city, and the mixed use and localization of public investments, and also empowering the people. I mean, the processes that we are doing when we are planning a city, they could also take care of other processes, democracy, for example. So we are working quite hard with that, and some examples are some creative places. This is a playground. We are to connect the Western Harbour with the city centre. We are building a new concert hall, and to connect some large-scale areas with some stations in the city tunnel. We also building a new street bar. So we have a lot of tools that we have to work with in a consistent way. Michael Marmot, he says, when he is standing on his toes and looking out of the audience, he said, just doing, if you should do one thing, at least you should give every child a good start in life. It's also a matter of living, working, housing questions. It's a healthy society, the differences in health, and it's also the economic growth combined with welfare questions. And it's also the urbanization, how to use this, the migration questions, for example. And at last, the infrastructure for change. Do we have the right methods? Do we have the right economical models and so on? So it also stresses the question about urban basics. So we are working a lot to have the schools and all the social services in place. How will young people, for example, how would they like to live? 61,000 young people were involved in this. So the next phase for us is to combine social and urban questions to work quite hard with that, so the city will be a whole city. And some projects we are putting in new buildings, for example, to create new environment, and this big roads, transform it into a street with the tram, for example. Building some new flagship projects in the eastern parts where its social economical questions are really in a lower level. Still today, a lot of things happen. We have experimented with living and working units, so you have your small enterprises in the front and you are living in the back of the same unit. And still today, we already have built some interesting, creative places. This is a place designed by young girls, 17 years old, and it was really crowded there. And also, the methods of planning is much more concerning which kind of value, which kind of quality do we have to create on this certain spot. So, to summarize, you can say, when we are now thinking about our next story, new words will come up. And also, what the people, the culture, the glue between people, that's the most important issue for us in the future. So you can say that we are on our way to a new story, and we started with the economical growth to the change from the industrial to the knowledge economy. Then we talked a lot about the environmental and the housing expert, and now we are into the social sustainability. But of course, everything is treated at the same time, as we always say. Sustainability is always concerning economical, environmental, and social aspects. So, still, we are ahead of this vision from 1959, but we are doing our best. Thanks a lot.